Hello, my name is Gabriel from GabakUSA. If you have an iPhone 5C, 5S or 5, I'm going to show you how to do it and without heat. That is very important because when you start trying to remove the battery, you will see that some places or some videos they apply heat and other things and you may damage your phone. So I'm going to teach you step by step how to do it. So in this case, if you have a battery that is almost exploding or something like that, I'm going to show you because I have my phone. I mean, no, my phone just was my wife's cell phone. That the screen was popping up. I was seeing the phone. I was thinking, whoa, something is wrong. Also, the battery was not lasting that long, so I'm going to teach you step by step how you can do it. Also, this video is in 4K, so if you want to do full screen, that way you can appreciate much better all the work. So let's start with the job. Okay, here we are going to try to open it up. As you can see, the cell phone, we're going to replace the battery. This is the new battery that you see, so it's all slim and looks fine. So now we are going to use this tool. This tool works very well. It's like a plier, but it's just to remove the LCD. So as you can see, we can lift it up and then we can see the battery that is bulged. So we're going to try to remove it. Otherwise, you see that is the problem that keeps the screen up and it will not close all the way. So I hope this phone was not going to burn in fire. So now we're going to use this tool. As you can see, Lux tool, that is the name of this tool. Is very good, it's cheap, and you are going to be able to keep the screen up so that way it will not break. So make sure that you don't break the little flex that it connects the button with the rest of the phone. That is the print sensor, the fingerprint sensor. So that you see the connector over there. So make sure that you will not snap it, and before that you have to remove that little piece of metal that I just show you. So that is very easy. So now we are going to show you. I'm going to use this print tool. So if you have to start, you can do that. You can use one end or the other one. If you don't know where to get it, you can use iFixit. Usually I have their tools and they work just fine. So make sure that you're not going to snap it. And over there, as you can see, there is a little screw you see in that little hole. If you have any trouble removing that little piece of metal, you can remove the screw, and that way it will be easier. Otherwise, if you want, you can try using just the piece of plastic that I showed you before. Make sure that you will not lose any of those screws. And now we're going to start working on the phone. So try to keep also the keep the order of the screws. Now we are going to try to remove the other support. There is another piece of metal that holds the connector. Now I'm going to move the phone so you can see a little bit better. You have 4 screws over there. So once you remove those screws, yeah, you can remove the flex. So try to keep the order. So in this case, I have a magnetic mat, but in this case I'm not going to use it because there are just 4 screws, and then you just try to keep the position of each one, so that will be easy. You have 4 screws on top, and you have another 2 screws just holding the battery, and that's it. So if you have some problem with the magnetic screwdriver, like in this case, you can use the tweezer to take the screws. So now we're going to leave it in the other side, and a little bit I'm going to show you more. So now we're going to try to move the the screws a little bit, so it will be in the reach of the camera. So now we have the 4 screws, as you can see. And now with the tweezer, we're going to remove the piece of metal. It holds the flex and everything. So make sure that if you take your phone to fix it somewhere, I saw in few places that they don't put all these pieces of metal back, so because it saves them a little bit of time when they put everything back, but it will not be recommended. So you can see now I just removed the 2 screws, and now I have those screws are from the metal. You see that is the one that holds the battery. Now you can unplug the cable, so that is very important before unplugging the other cables on the screen, of course, because it may damage the motherboard. So try to apply a little bit of force. That way you can use, if you want, you can use your nails, or sometimes you can use a plunger tool, a prior tool, like I'm doing right now. So that way you can unplug everything. So make sure that you are not going to open up too much the screen. That way you will not break the flex. Those are very delicate. Here, as you can see, on the bottom of the battery, we have a piece of like a handler or something like that. So you have to cut it just in the middle. Once you cut it in the middle, everything will be easier. As you can see, I put the other end of the tool. So now I'm going to cut it with the knife or the scissors. So there you go. Make sure that you cut it over there in the middle. That way, because on the side you have 2 strips of glue. So, but if you do what you are seeing on the screen, you see you have 2 lines of glue, like I said before. You have to start pulling, and it will be a little bit long. Try to keep it all in one piece, so that way it will be easier for you to remove the battery. Otherwise, it will be a pain if you try to pry it in any other way. It will be a pain in the butt, and you may break your motherboard or something like that. Don't use never that end. You see, this end is where you have the motherboard, so the motherboard is very fragile. So try to, if you're going to pry the battery, try to use the other end, the way that I'm working right now. As you can see, it's very easy. I'm going to stretch. It's very long, as you can see, but try to keep it in one piece. Keep working, and then there you go. So now one piece is gone, and now we are going to do the same thing in the other side. So now try to pull it. Make sure there is a cable, as you can see, on the end, and now it cuts itself the piece of glue. But try to grab it again and try to pull little by little, and you will see everything will be just fine. So that is the trick to remove the battery very quickly. Now, as you can see, I remove it all the way, and you see it's very bulgy. It's huge, the battery now, and try don't pierce it or anything like that. You see the other one is very slim. This is all messed up, so I'm going to install the new one. So in order to install the new one, we are going to use super glue. It's not a super glue, it's another, the glue is Uhu, but it's very good. The thing that you have to keep in mind, if you have some issue removing the glue, like I showed you before, you can apply some heat. You can apply the heat from the other side using a soldering station. So that way you can apply heat in the other side, and that way it will be much better. So as you can see, it's all clean. And so if you have to clean it, maybe you can use alcohol a little bit. And as you can see right now, I'm showing you the cable that I was talking before. So make sure that you don't damage it, otherwise you will have to make another repair. So now make sure everything is clean. Now we're going to apply some glue in a little bit, and then we're going to keep working on the phone. So now I'll show you. I'm going to remove the electric tape. You have to be very careful with this, otherwise you will break the connector. As you can see, that is the connector that you have to use with the motherboard. So in a little bit we're going to fold it in one way, so that way you're going to be able to connect it to the motherboard, otherwise it will not fit. So make sure of that. Now I'm going to use this glue. This glue is very good. It is Uhu, that is the brand. As you can see, is made in Germany, so it's very good. And the good thing about this glue, that I like it more than any other, is that when you apply a little bit of heat, it will be easy to remove it in case if you have to replace the battery later on. So that is one very important thing that you have to think. So if you apply 2 small lines, that will be more than enough to keep it in its place. Sometimes when you buy the battery, it comes with those strips, the glue strip, but if you don't, you can use the glue like I showed you before. So now, like I showed you before, I told you before, we have to bend it a little bit, so otherwise you're not going to be able to connect anything. So bend it a little bit, and then you have to bend it in the other way, so it will connect with the battery. But you will see. I mean, it depends on the manufacturer. So try not to connect it right now. So wait a little bit until you connect everything else, and then we can do the other things. We can connect it, of course. Like I said before, always is better to work without electricity on the phone. Now that we left the phone now that we left the phone for 15 minutes, so the glue should be almost dry. So we are going to start working, installing the display back. Remember, you have 3 connectors, and then we're going to start connecting the others. There we go. Make sure they snap, so that way you know they are connected properly. Now we are going to use this tool like I showed you before, so that way we can keep the screen in the right position and it will not get damaged or it will not disconnect. So now we are going to try to use the piece of metal. We're going to put it back and use the little screw. Remember, keep the same position because they have different sizes usually, and try not mixing up the screws. So we're going to put it there. If the screwdriver doesn't work because it lost the magnetism, or maybe if the screw is is bad or something like that, you're going to use the tweezers. Otherwise, usually with the screwdriver is enough, but it depends of the case. So now you can see it's fighting back, fighting back. So now we're going to try to put it. As you can see, in this case with this screw, it worked. We have to adjust it. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. Now the last one, you see, it is working now. There you go. It's very useful to have that tool. It can save your life when you're doing this kind of thing, you see. There you go. Now we have to do the same thing with the other ones, you know. Now we have to push it back, the connector, so make sure that snap it. Now we are going to use the piece of metal, the support, make sure it fits on the holes. Grab it again. Okay, done. Now we have to try to test the phone. In this case, the battery surely will be dead or almost dead. So in this case, as you can see, it's not working. So we are going to try to use the charger, and we are going to have to leave it for at least 20 minutes if the battery is dead. So that way it will start charging. Okay. You see, now it's working. We see the Apple logo. Yoo-hoo! Okay, now we're going to leave it for a while. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to use it. You see, dead. Nothing. So we're coming back in 20 minutes. Okay, now we are back. So now we are going to see everything, and let's hope it worked. So now we have the phone. We're going to try to turn it on, and we have 25%. Wonderful. So now we are going to turn it off, and there you go. We are going to keep working. Unplug it. Lift up the screen. And there you go. We have the piece of metal, like I said before. Just make sure everything is tight. And now we have to make sure that we connect the last connector. So the problem with this phone was the battery. So sometimes it's a pain to try to install it back. But we are going to try to leave the screen on one side, because the cable is long enough, so we are going to be able to connect it. I'll show you right now. We're going to use the twisters. We're going to leave it like that, release the screen, then we're going to use the screwdriver or whatever you have handy. You push and until you you hear the click, and once you have it, there you go. Okay, there you go. Now it's connected. Now we are going to push a little bit to make sure that everything is in its place. And now we are going to use the piece of metal. Like I said before, if you don't have the screws, usually it's easier to install it. So now we're going to push it a little bit. Remember, it has just one way to install it. You cannot install it in any other way. So once it is there, now we are going to try to flip the phone so you know that everything is in its place. But before doing that, we are going to put the last screw, that is the one that is next to it. Usually, like I said before, if you remove it, it will be easier to detach that little piece of metal. So now that you have that, we can flip the phone. You will see that the piece of metal will not fall. So that way you make sure that everything is okay. Just make sure you see my left. Try to push my left first. You see, and that in that end first, that end. Make sure that end goes first. Push it that way, and then push the rest of the phone, and that way it should be ready to go. So there you go. As you can see, push, press everything, and then make sure that everything sits fine. As you can see, I used the tray of the other phone while I was fixing this. So this is my wife's cell phone, so that way she can use the other phone meanwhile. But like I said before, here if you use this tool like I'm showing you right now, you can try a few times. If you have to remove it, you see, that was easy. That is how you can disassemble the phone, and then you can use the tweezers or maybe any other thing. You have to be very careful when you open the phone, so that way you don't damage the flex. Also try to keep the hand tight so it will not open more than it needs to, so that way it will not break anything. So you can see you have the flex. Like I said before, make sure that everything sits fine. Just where you have the face camera on the top, try to push it all the way, and then sit the rest of the phone, and everything should be just fine. So now we can turn it on. As you can see, it now is working. Now meanwhile the phone is booting up. We're going to put the last two screws, and everything should work just fine. Now we are going to use the pentalow screwdriver that I have on the table, and you will see everything feels nice and tight. And there you go. Now a few more seconds. Okay, now I'm going to type the password. There you go. It has no SIM card. It's no big deal. I have to change the tray, but you can see now it detects my finger. So if you push the button, as you can see, it's working just fine. And that's it. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Remember, subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.